The recording has started.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. This is Machete.
Yep. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Okay. So, you guys have seen the chart up on my wall on Facebook. Most of you have.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to explain the chart. It's a map. Okay? So, we're all on a journey, right? Journey and adventure. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time before I start, but I'll explain. Okay, so if anybody has any questions from the last class that we had, you can get those questions out now before we get started to give other people time to get in class. Going group in. Yeah.
You were saying that that the doctors are witches or something?
The doctors are witches. Did I say? Hey, I didn't say the doctors are witches. Right? Okay, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the one. Okay? You didn't get it from you didn't get it from me. I'm just the messenger. Okay? Right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
How about everyone else in history says that the doctors and nurses are witches and sorcerers? How about looking up where the word pharmakia came from, where the word pharmacy came from? Came from the word pharmakia, right? If you look up what a xenodochium is, that's where the word hospital came from. If you look up what the old definitions, what the definitions of these words are, it's really literal, man. And the thing is that I would say even everywhere between medieval times and back, right? Everybody knew this. Everybody knew it, right? What happened was the witches and sorcerers, they they changed their costumes from black to white. When they realized that they could make money off of it, they started wearing white. Okay, and and they stopped working, doing their crafts in the huts in the woods, and they started doing it in labs, and now nobody knows where the witches are. Right? Everybody thinks, and mind you, let me tell everybody, I'm not going to start the recording yet. We only have 3 people in here, 2 people in here, so I can have this conversation with you guys. I've met and been around real witches, okay? Like, I've been places where real witches go. And witches are very, very real. And so yes, you can look that stuff up. It's literal. It's pretty literal. Now, okay. For whoever just joined, we're doing questions and answers before we actually start the class. So yes, go.
Please, sorry, at my cousin's basketball game though. Do it.
Okay. So, do we have any more questions before we start?
What's today's subject about?
Today's subject is about the map, the chart that I have on my wall on Facebook.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain that tonight. I decided to take tonight and explain that. To give you guys, and it's a map really. So I'm gonna explain the map. Let's get to it then. I would say there's enough people in here now that we can get to it. if there's no other questions, let me give you guys a chance to ask your questions before I start. So are
Do
there
you
any
have to
more?
mute?
Do I have?
Do you,
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna. But when I was gonna say it after I found out whether anybody had questions or not. But yes, when we start, I'd like the mics to because we get reverb, and I'm a rapper and reverb sucks. So
oh,
yeah,
okay.
you had to turn your mics off. But at the end, you can turn your mics back on, and we could get to questions and answers again.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I guess turn your mics off now.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Don't you guys see that? Huh? Okay. So a lot of you guys are familiar with this. You've seen it on my wall. It looked a little bit different, but that's because I did it over. I made it a little bit neater. Right? It's neater, easier to read. This is actually a map. Okay. This is a map from the first step of this process, and I'm not going to say to the last step of this process because there is no last step. Let me just say ahead of time, there is no last step to this process. It's an ongoing process. You're going to always be learning. You're going to always be doing, and there's always more. See, the whole thing is after you set this up, the possibilities for you are endless. All right? So I'm going to briefly explain the map, and then I'm going to explain the map in detail. Okay? Let's get to it then. All right, so God, the creator, right, the first source and center of all things, pardon the rapper, but God, the first source and center of all things, the creator, our Father in heaven, the heavens, which just means space. I have to say that all the time. Is the source of this process. Okay? And it is because he loves us that we are able to do this in the first place, man. You got to think about that. You got to think about the fact that, as evil is, and as wicked as the system is, God still made a way for us to find out how to do this. Through all the crap that, they try to throw in front of us and distract us with, we still came to a point where we learned how to overcome it. So, I mean, that's something that we all need to consider. That's one of those moments of silence, not like somebody died, but like that's like, you take a minute and contemplate on things like that. So it's because he loves us, and that it's because he exists that we're able to do this. And next is Christ. Okay? Christ, Michael, right? Jesus. Whatever name you want. Because the thing is that there's different names for God, there's different names for Christ. Hey, look, I don't know what part of the planet you're on. I don't know what your exact belief is, but, God and Christ, first two topics of this class, and the first two things to be considered on your journey on this map. right? The kingdom of heaven is the next topic and subject, and the thing is, the reason why the kingdom of heaven is going to be emphasized over and over again, right, in all of these classes, is because that is the jurisdiction that we would like to enter. Okay, the private is the kingdom of heaven, right? The kingdom of heaven is in the private. Okay, right? So when we enter the private, when we enter the kingdom of heaven, we are in the private. That's the jurisdiction that we're under. That's where our citizenship is, right? So next we go to the baptism, right? And so we know that once we choose sides, we choose God, we choose Christ, we choose the kingdom of heaven, right? We know that the baptism is the first step in this process. Okay? Now, let's explain the baptism real quick. So, God, Christ, and the kingdom of heaven is our foundation. And that's what we stand upon, right? I call that the core, right? That's our core. The baptism is the new life, right? Now, to get into detail with the baptism, first of all, you have to know what a free church is. A free church is an unincorporated church, a non-incorporated church, a non-denominational church, right? You either have to be baptized by someone from a free church or simply a believer that is not a member of a corporated church, right? You all know that you would have your letter of baptism, right? And again, I want everybody to inbox me or put in a group that you sent me your baptismal letters, because I have them, but I don't want to miss anybody. So everybody let me know whether you send them or not, and we'll send a message out in the group. But you'll have your letters of baptism. Then we send out the baptismal certificates, and then you have a letter, right? A supporting document that goes with your certificate of baptism, right? The next stage, the next stop, or the next place on this map that we're going to talk about is the affidavit of identity. Now, the reason why I bring up the affidavit of identity is because at the point of baptism, you have either, right? Now, I'm going to say either because there's a choice. You have either chosen to abandon the person completely, toss it all, burn it all, right? Or you have chosen to return to Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay? Now, at the point of doing this, you no longer have a state ID, a driver's license, a social security card, right? Okay, you no longer have these things. So now you have the certificate of baptism and you have a new name, right? So the affidavit of identity, you're going to have to know this, right? In law, the affidavit of identity, if you do not have other forms of identification, the affidavit of identity, notarized, of course, right, is accepted in banks, courts, wherever your identification is required. the affidavit of identity is accepted. So, I would say to go along with your certificate of baptism would be the affidavit of identity. Now, next on the map is ordination, right, as a minister or another position in the church, because there are other positions other than priest. You could be a scribe, you can be, and there's a difference between a priest and a pastor, okay? The pastor, I'm going to teach you about this. This is pretty cool. The pastor in our church is actually, has the same position as the county recorder. I bet you didn't know that. The pastor, the pastor of a church does the same thing as the county recorder. Right? So, in a free church, that's who the pastor is. So yeah, pastor and priest, different positions. But what I'm saying is that being ordained and becoming a congregation member are two different things. Everybody's not cut out to be a priest. So, congregational membership is also an option, right? But being protected by a free church is highly advised and suggested. So, from baptism, you have the affidavit of identity to go with your baptismal certificate and your letter, which is the affirmation and reconciliation document, which supports the baptismal certificate and the affidavit of identity. They all support each other, okay? Right? You guys have these documents already. Ordination, okay, or congregational membership. You know the Temple of Light and Life is a free church. So, you would come to us and you would get ordained or choose congregational membership. Okay? That's pretty simple. Now, this is where it all gets, as if that wasn't cool enough, this is where it all gets even cooler, right? Okay, private trust part. Now, listen. I'll explain this to everybody. The baptismal certificate is the opposite of the birth certificate. I know we've gone over this in other classes, but I'm going to refresh your memory. The baptismal certificate is the opposite of the birth certificate. If you're at an airport and you don't have your birth certificate or any other type of ID, right, and you have your baptismal certificate or Bible birth record, right, they accept that. Did you know that? Yes, because the baptismal certificate is proof that a living being exists, and the birth certificate is proof that a dead entity, right, exists. So, now, just like the birth certificate was accompanied by the Social Security number and the statutory trust, right? Okay, the reason why that was done is because to operate in the public, you have to use an entity, right? You have to use an entity to operate in the world of commerce and in the public, right? You have to. So, right, that's how the game is played with entities, right? So, the thing is that You've been operating through a trust that you really didn't know about until recently, right? So, once you abandon the name, the entity, once you return it from whence it came, back from whence it came, and you are baptized and or ordained, you now are a new creature, right? And as a new man, what happened was, and let me explain this to you. When I started the Temple of Light and Life, right, I was telling people about how to become free. You get ordained, you become a member of a free church, become a priest, you'll be free, right? So I tell people, ban this stuff, throw everything away, forget about it, become a priest, right? That's what I did. That's what I did. And it was a mistake because I was able to do it, but everyone wasn't able to do it. And there was a question that popped up that Machete wasn't able to answer. You know what that question was? Machete, okay, so if I throw away my Social Security card and everything, right, I get rid of it all, right, how do I pay my bills? How do I get money? How do I eat? And, it's not that I didn't have an answer for that, because there's answers, there's jobs, you could work construction, right? But I didn't really have an answer. Okay, that's because I didn't know this stuff, right? I was on the church level. So, this level here is how you operate in the public. This is what is called being in the world but not of the world. In this world but not of this world, right? That's what this level is called. This is where you're at now, okay? So on the map, you're going to see the point where it says private trust. Now, you see this dotted line here, people? It's funny how there's no words for the dotted line, but that dotted line is very serious, okay? I'm going to explain what the dotted line is. Now, I had a little debate with myself whether or not I was going to tell you guys about this dotted line here. But I am. Because, hey, if God gives you a choice, and lets you know about everything, the machine is going to do the same thing, right? And so, look, the dotted line means that an individual that was not baptized, not ordained, you listening to me, right? Ooh, right? Shouldn't even be saying it. So that's so. So, an individual that was not baptized and not ordained, not a congregation member, could create a private trust, right? Could create a trust. Has a right to contract, right? Just like you do. Every man has a right to contract with another man, okay? Another man and woman. All right, so the dotted line means that this is the point where somebody that hasn't done any of the things above the dotted line can come in at, right? This can happen. Now, the problem with that is what side you're on, okay, right? If you try to create a private trust, but you're not baptized, you don't have any evidence of being on the other side, right? Then you're commingling, you're mixing the public and the private. And that's where the problem comes in at. But when you create a trust, right, there's a way to layer it so that you're protecting yourself. So it's hard to find you, right? It's hard to find out who the settler of the trust is, and everything's in a trust name. So there's people that try to hide themselves behind a trust, but those are situations where it doesn't really last long, right? But I had to tell you about it because, I don't know, it's the truth. So right, I'm going to tell you about it. Now, on our map, our steps and our process, we do everything above the dotted line, and the next step is to create the private trust. Now, the reason why you're creating a private trust is because you want to operate in the public. You want to be able to do stuff. You want to be able to give stuff. You want to be able to pay for stuff, And so you create a private trust. Now, when you do that, you're creating a positive entity. So, whereas a negative entity was connected to you or attached to you when you were born, what you did was you were born. And so, you create a positive entity. Okay? Okay. So now, to go with your new name, you would be creating this private trust with a name similar to your new name, but never in all caps. So the new name can have an extra letter, or the new name can, I don't know, the name could be shortened, like it can be Jonathan, and the new name could be, and the trust name could be John, right? Right, but so you get it. It has to be similar, but never all caps. The same way they did when you were born, because this is how you operate in the system. Because you don't need any of this to live. Let me explain. You don't need any of this to live. This is all to operate in the system, right? So this is like this is very easy. In the Matrix, sometimes they have to go into the system. They have to go into the Matrix. And so you're learning now how to operate in the Matrix. You learned how to become free and unplug, but now you have to learn how to go back out there and operate and survive. That's where the private trust comes in. The private trust is the entity that you are when you're in the Matrix. Ooh. Okay? So, and in the movie, he said that is your residual self-image, right? That's what, when you're in the Matrix, your mind creates the entity, right? So, now, this private trust that you create is what is called the management trust, because it is that trust that is going to manage all of the other, and manage and create all of the trusts that come after it. Because a trust can create a trust. Ooh. Now, you guys should be taking notes, okay? A trust can create a trust. And so, the private trust, that the positive entity that has a name similar to your new name, but never in all caps, is called the management trust, that will be creating and managing all of the trusts created after it. Okay? Now, here's what happens. Okay? From this private trust, 3 things happen. That private trust is going to need an EIN number. Okay? The whole trick to the EIN number is that, well, aren't we trying to avoid taxes? And if you get an EIN number, aren't you negating your privacy? Okay, I'll tell you, this is the secret to that. Being that, we're not in a public forum right now, I can tell you. And I've said this before, but Listen, the whole funny 98 series crap that they tell you gotta go through to be foreign. Listen, I'm gonna tell you the truth about foreign trust. I should post it one day. But first of all, if you're foreign and you come to the United States and you want to create a corporation or you want to set up a trust, what you're getting is called an ITIN number, right? That's for foreign entities, okay? All right? It's called an ITIN number, right? That's for foreigners, okay? That's what that's called. Now, let me talk about the EIN number real quick. A private trust, right, itself is foreign to the United States. It doesn't matter what number it is. Doesn't matter what number it is. A private trust is foreign to the United States by itself. A private trust indenture or declaration notarized makes the trust foreign alone before it even gets an EIN number. The trust is foreign. Okay? So, here's what happens. Here's the trick with the tax ID number, the EIN number, whatever you want to call it. Here's the trick. The trick is that when you get the EIN number, stop. You go to the Treasury Internal Revenue website, you get your EIN number, get it and run. Get it and leave. Once you get it, you get your email. Don't ever go back to that website ever again. Do you hear what I'm saying, man? Right? Because you don't need to talk to them ever anymore for anything. The second you file something, that's your ass. Okay? You just negated that. Will negate your privacy, and they will come. Your trust will become public, statutory, as soon as you file something. As long as you don't file anything, you're good. Okay? Your trust is private, your trust is foreign, you're good. As soon as you file something, you're bad. Your trust is not private, your trust is not foreign, not anymore. Okay? Just saying. Now, that private trust needs an EIN number. That private trust is going to need an address, a virtual address. You never want your trust and you never want to have the same address as your trust. Okay? Okay, all of the trust mail should always go to a different address, right? And the entity and the man need two different addresses. And you should never have the man's mail go to the trust address. You should never have the trust mail go to the man's address, like ever, man. Okay? Now, the private trust is going to need a burner number. And why I say a burner number is because you want to get a burner phone, a quick phone, like a trust, like a bat phone for the trust, right? You're also going to need a Dun & Bradstreet number, right? Okay? Right? EIN number, you're going to have to apply for a Dun & Bradstreet number. Now, the reason why is because this positive entity as a business, because that's what trusts are. You're going to have to put people in position. The trust is going to have to be operating like a well-oiled machine, generating income. Okay? This is the point. Because whoever your beneficiaries are, the point of the trust is to make sure they're okay. Now, also is the 800 number. Alright? The 800 number is because the business, the trust is considered as a business, so I'll get into that in a minute. Right? And the doing business as name. Okay. Now, this is where we get to the business trust over here. Now, Okay. This private trust, you have options. This private trust can do business as the business trust. So the business trust can be what the private trust is doing business as, right? So if you call the business trust, and now that the thing about the business trust is whatever your dream is, whatever your aspiration is, whatever your goal is, right? Whatever your talents are, whatever it is that you always wanted to do, right? Or make money with, that is your business. That is supposed to be what your business trust is. Okay? Now you can do it. You're supposed to. Okay. Now, the business trust is going to be under the DBA, right? Unless you choose the option of using the first trust to create the business trust. So what that means is that you will be using the EIN number from the private trust that you created for your new name, right? You'll be using the EIN number from that to create, right, to apply for another EIN number, which is to say that a trust can create a trust. A trust can create a corporation. Not, we don't do corporations over here. So I'm just saying a trust can create a trust. So the new private trust will be creating, right, a business trust or doing business as the business trust. Got that? Cool. Now, all right. Now, here's where everything gets cool at. Okay? Because after you get the EIN number, you set up the business trust and you get your doing business as name, your Dun & Bradstreet number, your 800 number, you have all of that stuff set up, your virtual address, right? You have just reached the bank account point where you open up the trust bank account. Okay? Now, Dun & Bradstreet is what sets off your business credit. Okay? You open up the bank account, you have your Dun & Bradstreet number, and now your business credit starts building up. What I was told when I was talking to the Dun & Bradstreet people is that once your entity has a Dun & Bradstreet number, this is you guys are gonna love this. Once your entity has a Dun & Bradstreet number, you can use the Dun & Bradstreet number instead of the EIN number when you apply for accounts. That's what she said to me. Hey, that's what she said to me. And she said that when you do it that way, your business credit shoots sky high, and that's where, life changes for you. In the public, of course. Right? And, that's where all the rich people stuff starts happening at that point. And your business credit, you have to learn how to build up your business credit and how to get that and how to use that and how to make it work for you and everything. But that's the level after the bank account is the business credit, right? Dun & Bradstreet number, your business credit, bank account, everything starts. At that point also is where you'll be starting to create, because once you have the trust bank account open, you'll start creating trust capital units, which are like stocks to corporations. All right. To private trust, right? We use units, because there's trust capital units and then there's units of beneficial interest, right? So they're two different types of units. But those units are like stocks, and so you can start printing those up at this point. You get people interested in the company, and they can buy shares, so to speak, which are units. They can buy units. You know, they can invest in your trust in exchange for units. And please believe that these investors out here, all of them know about what I'm talking about. Next is the asset holding trust. Now, the asset holding trust has to be created because all of the assets from the previous trust will be transferred into the asset holding trust. See? So now, all of the valuables, everything collected from the other trusts get transferred into this asset holding trust. Because the asset holding trust is like a treasury, right? Now, after the asset holding trust point, right, is the private banking point. Now let me tell you why. Because the asset holding trust that holds all of the assets of the other trust is actually a bank. It's actually a private bank. And listen, people, I tell you something else, right? And this is what you guys are going to learn how to do all of this stuff. But I'm teaching what the map is and where you're going and what the levels are and how much plain as day, down to earth sense it makes, okay? As far as your privacy is concerned, you'll be doing everything in a trust name. The trust can open bank accounts. The trust could set you up for school. The trust could, apply for loans. The trust could do. It's the same as your life was, man. It really is. It's just you'll be doing everything in a trust name. No problem. Now, business credit. Listen, I just want to talk about business credit one more time. And the whole income thing. Business credit gives you the ability to operate normally. I was trying to think how to say it. Operate normally in the public. I'm just going to be playing with it and just say, that's how you do that. That's what you do that with. To operate normally in public and feel somewhat normal. Right? When your credit shoots up, man, and there are ways to make your business credit shoot up, but the thing is that they treat businesses differently than they treat individuals. Just want to say, like when Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman, right? Nobody listened to him, but that's what he was talking about. And that's pretty much the map of going from the baptism to operating in the public and your life being completely different. You see, and what it is that your business trust is your source of income. So whatever you're doing as your business trust, that's where you're making money at. And when you create a trust, it's your job to make sure that trust is generating income for the beneficiaries, or it's not a trust if it doesn't do that, right? Now, let's get into the documents, okay? Because, the proof is in the pudding, right? This is always talking, but the proof is in the pudding, right? So here's my pudding, okay? Right? Here's the deal. On the top, you see the IRS document. Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, Cincinnati, Ohio, blah, 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 etc., right? Okay. You see my name twice. You do. You see it twice. It is there twice. Now, the reason why it's there twice is because Michael M. Van Helsing is the trust, man. But Michael Machete Van Helsing, me, is the trustee. Now, how did you do that? Well, man, I had a friend, a family member, brother, right? Apply for the EIN number. He created the trust. I'm the trustee. That's how that works. And so that's how you would do that, right? If you, and that's how I did it. That's why it looks like that. That's the EIN number. The 411 listing is so that Michael M. Van Helsing is listed in the phone directory in 411. Right? This is your public notice that you exist, that you're out there, right? Okay? It's crazy. You got to pay attention. The virtual address is so that Michael M. Van Helsing has an address. They left the M out, right? But you get the point. And also, because the trust has to have an address where its mail is sent to. And that address can't be a P.O. box. Or like one of those what do you call them? Like, what do you do? Like the stores, the mail stores, don't do that. Right? Don't do that. It needs a separate real address. Other than the address of the man, of the new man. The new trust has a separate address than the new man. Okay? Right. Now, the Dun & Bradstreet number. Okay, we talked about the Dun & Bradstreet number. This is the response that, I set up the trust for the Dun & Bradstreet number, but that takes time to come back. So this is the letter of them letting me know, that they'll be sending me the number shortly. The 800 number. The 800 number is for the business trust. Okay. Now the business trust. You see. Also, if you choose the route of creating a business trust with the original trust, then there would be two EIN numbers at that point. If you decided to use the original trust to do business as the business name, then not. Okay? This is something I didn't cover. Address, EIN number. Okay. So, everybody, you can turn your mics back on, and we could get to the questions, Q&A, and all that. Q&A and all that. Let's get back to there we go.
Peace, fam.
All right. So, questions.
Question. To create to get the EIN.
Yes.
They ask you. You gotta put an entity first, right? When they ask you like for your social and all that,
Yeah, I had a friend do that.
How do you bypass? Like, is there any way around that?
I had a friend do that.
How do you bypass though?
What do you mean bypass? I had a friend apply for the EIN number, and when they applied, they put my name as the trustee. my new name as the trustee.
Oh, so we gotta put your information?
I had a friend apply for the EIN number and put it's like the grantor of the new name trust is not me.
Right. Okay. Right.
And they applied for that EIN number and put the new me as the trustee.
Right. And then once I get mine, then
it'll look like that, and it'll be two, and the name will be there twice.
Right, and then I can create another entity off of that.
Bong.
And bong bong and bong bong.
Right.
Okay. So like.
Yeah, and that makes you, that's safe. That's the safest way.
Right, because that's what I was pondering on. I'm like, how do you
disconnect it? Because you disconnect it. That's you disconnecting yourself. That's how you do that. But see, that's how the trust starts. You have to start your trust with someone you can trust.
Right. you bong bong, and then you okay.
And then you have to decide. Well, I want to be the grantor. I want to be the settler because the settler's on top. I want to be God. Right. That's what.
Right.
It's not like that, man. It's like you decide where you want to be in the company. You decide whether And I did this before I started a record label in 2001. Right. And it was my idea. I set it up. I built everything. I got all the artists together. All the artists was my friends. I got all their music together, right? But I told my friend, you be the president and CEO of the record label, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want nobody to know that it was all my idea, right? Right? So I told him to be the CEO and let me run everything, and you just go out there and do the talking. You know what I mean? And I'll make everything you talking. I'll make sure that it's all real over here, right? But you be the guy that's in charge of the whole Assassin Records. I don't want them asking me why is it called Assassin Records, right? Or I want them to ask you that because you have no idea why it's really called Assassin Records, right? So that was the whole thing, you know. So that was all. I did that before, and it's all about what position you want to be in the company, right? So. In my case, I wanted to be the general manager, right? And you could be the settler and general manager, but in my case, I don't have a social security number. I really don't. I don't have an original birth certificate. I never had an original birth certificate. So, so I had my friend.
You never had one?
Nah.
Oh, wow. So damn, your people's already on this?
Nah, I don't know who they are, is what, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything that happened with me was fraudulent. Like, everything was, like, I was bought as a baby, you know what I'm saying? So, all my papers was garbage, is what I found out. Yeah. Like, I was adopted, and, like, all the paperwork that they got was fake and phony because I was bought, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, they had, like, a fake yellow... Like it looked like a birth. It was supposed to be considered as the birth registration certificate, but it said this is not, because this is at the bottom. This is not considered as a legal document. This is not an original birth certificate. I'm like, damn, Ma. So if this is all you had, where's the birth certificate? She's like, I don't think I ever had one. I'm like, oh shit, then I never had one. Right?
I'm like, just something to pass through.
Yeah. So I'm like, yo, so none of this shit counts. You know what I mean? So I don't have nothing. There's no. They can't trace me back nowhere. So so some of the stuff that y'all got to do, I can't do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was different for me. Like, so when I found out what was going on, I'll tell you what it is, right? So I have a personal beef with like the Vatican and the system and all of that. Like, It was called the baby scoop era, right? The baby scoop, like when you scoop with a spoon, it was called the baby scoop era, right? The Vatican ordered that the children, this is in the 60s and 70s, like 50s, 60s, 70s, the Vatican ordered the children to be taken from their families. Around the world, Spain lost 30,000 kids and still don't know where their kids went. And in New York, what they did was they passed a law that all women that had children under the age of 21 that wasn't pregnant were considered as crazy, and they were all put in mental institutions, and the kids were taken from them.
Yeah, like the asylums.
So you were, yeah. I was born in Bronx Morrisania Hospital. It was a mental diagnostic center for women and children. Right, I was born in there. Like, you know what I mean, I was taken from my mother and born in there. And so what happened was, the year after I was born, that hospital was torn down because like they were caught for like selling kids, for stealing and selling kids. So like, so I don't know what happened after that.
All the
but
records was gone.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, and that's Bronx Morrisania Hospital. You could look that up. You know what I'm saying? You could look up baby scoop error. You could look up Vatican baby scoop error. Google that. You know what I mean? I'm one of those babies. And there's mad people around my age that just have no idea who their real parents are, who they really are. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm one of them people. So the process for me was different. Me throwing all of that stuff away, it was easier for me to do. You know what I'm saying? So
wow.
That's why I had to figure out how everybody could do it. You know what I'm saying? So in my case, there is no social security number for me to put, like, you know what I'm saying? Because my name is none of that, none of it is real. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Got you. Wow.
I'm like, you are. So that's why I did that like that. And you can too. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I did it like that. I couldn't do it no other way.
Got you. That's
yeah.
Peace right there. Appreciate that still. You might quiet everybody out after that one.
I'm just saying, like, you know, you asking, you shall receive, you know what I mean? Like,
Indeed.
And I wrote a song about it. It's called I Shot the Boogeyman. So if y'all ever, you know, on YouTube and you check me, it's a song called I Shot the Boogeyman. That's if you go to my website, and you go to more, you click the more tab and you click my music, there's a song called I Shot the Boogeyman. It's about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to write a song, I had to get that off my chest. That was heavy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had to get it off my chest. But yeah, so that's how you start. You know what I mean? And then the affidavit of identity is important because if you look up affidavit of identity, they actually accept that as a legal form of identification.
So tell me this.
What's up?
Two quick questions. Now, say like, so just to get clarification, like, if I just had, say I had a buddy, I wanted him to be a trustee, but he wasn't ready to give up his social, none of that. But to create the EIN on the new positive entity,
mm-hmm.
If I had him as a trustee, go ahead and, you know, where they, the name, you know, when you got to put a basic name in the social, whatever, just to get the EIN. You know
yeah, well, see, here's the thing. When you talking, because look, I'm from South Jamaica, Queens. Like, me and 50 from the same hood. We went to the same school. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm from the same hood. Listen, you don't have to. It's not the next lick. This is not.
Right, yeah, I ain't saying
this is not the new come up. You're not doing nothing that you got to be sneaky with. Listen, right. This is your man. Your man starts a company, right, and he wants you to run it. It's just that he decided to name the company. Individual could name a company whatever they want, son.
Got you, son.
Mary Kay.
Right.
Is somebody's name. I put an example on my wall on one of the real estate posts where there was a guy named Frank. I forgot his name, but he named his trust Frank, whatever his last name was. You know what I'm saying? And he ran his trust fund. His trust was a real estate trust, and he named it after himself. But it's crazy. He named his trust the same exact name as himself. He just put trust at the end. Like, so it was like Machete Van Helsing Trust. Right? That's what he named his trust. So, but an individual could name a company whatever they want to name it. It's just that your
Right.
man started a company and he named it after you. Like he honored you. Like you know what I'm saying? I don't know, like you his hero or
Yeah.
something. Like and he
Right. No
decided to
doubt.
name his trust after you and he wanted to put you in charge of it. There's nothing illegal about that. There's nothing to sound like so if I get my man right, and I have him do it, but he don't want to really like, nah, son, it's cool, son. This is all lawful stuff we doing. I'm not gonna lead y'all in a direction that could get you in trouble, man. This is all standard procedure stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just that they don't tell you the loopholes and gray areas that they be using.
Right. So Machete, like on the affidavit of
Yeah. Y'all could Google that right now. I think y'all should Google that, like the affidavit of identity. It'll surprise you, man. Like.
So when you do that with your picture and whatever, I'm sure
You don't even got, for real, you
don't.
don't even have to have your picture on the affidavit of identity, man. Because it's just two people saying that this guy is who he says he is. It's two witnesses saying that this guy is who he says he is. I know him. Like, I know this nigga. I know him.
What about when you doing like, so, I don't know if I'm moving too fast, but as a clergyman and like if you was about to travel, say if you was in Florida about to travel to California and you was going on a plane, you was still, you know what I mean?
Here's the thing with the airport, and I don't do planes. I took a plane like once, right? Here's the thing with that, because I like telling y'all what I did. You know what I'm saying? And I like telling y'all what I know, right? But let me tell you ahead of time. I'm real quick to tell you what I don't know, and I'm real quick to tell you what I didn't do. Alright, you know what I'm saying? I'm quick to tell you what I didn't do. Now here's the thing, I didn't do that yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that, but I tell you what I do know, right? There's a private side to everything. This is what I know, right? Mm-hmm. The airport has a private section where private individuals don't go through all of that crap to get on planes, son.
Right.
So when you're a private individual and you go through the wrong way to get on a plane, you're gonna go through. Listen, son, like, you know what I'm saying. So it's that I could look it up and research. I haven't done that yet. You know what I mean? I know how to get. But here's the thing: why do you care when you could get a passport? You could get a passport, so you could go get a passport. That counts as ID. You could go get a passport and use 000000000 as a social security number and be out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Keep it
you know
simple.
What I'm saying? And when they ask you why you do what's the deal with the zero? You know, they're like, well, we don't know with these zeros. What's the deal with the zero? And you send your religious beliefs and all your baptismal everything with it, like, yo, son, I don't have that. I can't have that. You know what I mean? I don't do 42666. I don't do that.
Right.
I can't have nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? And first of all, what I'm saying is that they're not even going to question you. From what I know, when you do the passport 0000 thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody that had problems yet. If you found information that somebody did, let me know. But as far as I know, with this process, you can go and do the whole passport 0000 thing. Now I'm going to teach y'all that. That's in one of the future classes, but it's not necessary for this process right here, which is just becoming free and being able to operate in the public. Like operating in your car and getting on a plane, and what happens if the police stop you on the street. That's all extra stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I'll teach y'all that, you know what I mean? Because the thing was, I made that mistake before, and I was ordaining people, and they didn't know what to say out there. So they're like, I'm a minister, you can't do that to me. Like, you're a minister, what's your name? And they're like, oh, my name is, what's your social security? Oh, my social security number is. And I'm like, oh, God, you told them your social security. You know what I'm saying? Well, he pulled me over. I told him I was a minister, and he said he didn't care, so I gave him my license. I'm like, oh, my God, you had a license on you, right?
Right.
So it's because they weren't educated. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I created the school this time, so that when I help people become free, they're also educated and know what to do and who they are and what this is about and what to say and who everything is. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like they had to, it's, you know what I mean? So I had to make sure everybody was educated before y'all went out there, man, 'cause right. And the thing is that and I'll tell you another truth. Okay, right. It's like about 20 ministers out there in the United States spread out with clergy plates that's been riding around for years, and nobody called me with no problems. And believe me, if somebody had a problem with our clergy plates after I told them that they could ride around in their car with these plates that I designed in my on a piece of paper on my computer, right? Right? I told you that you could ride around with this and you're good, man. You good. You know what I'm saying? Not take the state joints off, toss them, put these on, you good. Right? And they like, all right, yo, I'm gonna do it, right? All right, and they get pulled over and locked up and all that. Listen, the first individual they gonna call is me. One of the first individuals the police are gonna call is me. Yeah, we got this guy, right? He says that he's a minister. He works for you, right? What's with these plates here? They're cute, but right? Nobody called me, man. So what I'm saying to you is that there's like 20 ministers riding around right now for years with clergy plates on their car, and they cool.
Right.
But those individuals educated themselves.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, and they paid attention to what I taught them. Right? There were 3 ministers that we had that had problems. One of them, a police officer was pulling him over because he knew the individual, he knew the car, he knew who it was, right? But today he has different plates on his car, right? So he pulls him over because he knows the guy has problems, he has tickets or warrants or whatever. So he pulls him, he puts his plates on, pull him over. Guy doesn't stop. You didn't stop, man. You kept going, B. Like he turned his lights on behind you, and you kept going. So he chased you. so you made him chase you, right? Okay, so that minister did that. Because he did that, he got in trouble. He did that to himself. Minister number two goes to some other town that he had no business in, to meet some female that he didn't really know, and he parks I don't care, and he parks his car in a no parking tollway zone with clergy.
Oh, good. Well, that's just history with that.
Vehicle to his car, because it's not a vehicle, to his car, right? And his car smells like weed, and the female that's in his car just so happens to be the town con artist. Okay, he gets in trouble. Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I can't tell you that nobody ever got in trouble. 3 ministers got in trouble, but it was their fault. Okay, it wasn't because of the plates, right? It was because what the hell were you doing, son? Right. Everybody else has been cool for the last 4 or 5 years or something. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So like my first trust I'm gonna create.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the new me.
The new name. Yeah. Yep.
So that's considered a trust.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's not considered a trust. What it is that the new you have to create a new trust to. It's like creating a partner. It's like creating an angel to be with you in the public.
Right. The new you.
Right. Right. So what it is that entity is the trust.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that the new entity is the trust.
Yes, the trust is an entity, just like a corporation is an entity. Corporations are public entities.
Ah, okay.
Private trusts are private entities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then,
And now what
oh,
you
go
do,
ahead.
what happens is that trust creates a business trust because a trust can create a trust. Because if you can take it, listen, the person is a trust, right?
Hmm.
Right? How many,
Yeah.
can I get some answers? The person is a
Right,
trust,
right,
right? The all capital letter name is a trust,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Do any of,
cystic K
do,
or whatever.
yeah. It's a trust, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So, does anybody here anybody here ever started a company or business before? Anybody here ever start a business? Anybody ever start a business before? You ever get an EIN number before? Anybody? Nobody?
No, not yet.
Okay. Listen. If you wanted to, you could start a business. You could go start a business right now. You could go to not well, actually, it's after hours, but tomorrow morning, or you can go to the IRS and you can get an EIN number and start a corporation tomorrow. You know that, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you know that that would be the trust creating a corporation? Not you, right? It's not you doing that, right? You do. Let me wake you up and open your eyes if they're not open already. Do you know that when you went and applied for that job, that it wasn't you on that application, right? You know that
Right,
that they didn't pay you. That paycheck wasn't you on it, right? You know that
right.
was they paid the trust.
Yeah. The legal entity. Yeah.
They pay son. And what I'm telling you is that if you did it before, you can do it again. It's the same, man. It's the same. People are like, how am I gonna be? I don't want to lose my. I don't want. Listen, man. Dude, you've been doing it your whole life. Why does it sound like you have to learn something brand new and complicated? All you have to do is create a new name, a new trust, and go out there and do the same thing you've been doing.
Right. And the first trust you create, it's called after your name, or what kind of
Yes.
protection does it have?
Yes. Protection does it have? It's private trust too. Like if you do everything right, you set it up right. It's a
Okay.
separate. It's how can I say this? It's you. How can I say this? I know how to say it. It's the equivalent of the United States. You are creating the United States is a corporation. It's a trust. You'll be creating. You'll. If you had enough people, I guess, and weapons and land and shit, you'll be equivalent to the United States.
Right.
You are
Yeah,
able
I understand.
once you create a trust, you can do no less than they can,
You know.
and really more because you're private. But yeah, you are now at equal standing with them, in equity with them.
And you could even start your own like little government, right? Like your own IRS.
Yes is what I'm saying, man. That I just
Yeah.
said that it is you are in equal standing and footing, and you can
Right.
do. There's nothing that they have done that you cannot do, and you
Mhm.
can most likely, and you can do more because you're private.
Yeah. Mhm. And your trust can set the terms and conditions, right?
You set the terms and conditions.
The creator. The
Yeah. That's where the power comes in at of the
right.
settler, because the settler sets everything up and decides how everything's gonna go.
Oh, okay. And now, what is required for the trustees?
What do you mean?
Um, well, there's three people, right? The creator, the trustee,
Yeah.
and the beneficiary.
Well. See, here's the thing. Right. Here's the thing. Everything after the everything other than, should I say, everything other than the grantor. Now, let me get this clear for everybody, because they say different things in different places. The settlor, the grantor, the trustor, those are all the same individual, okay? All right, those are all the same position. You might have heard different ones in different places. They're all the same guy, right? Okay, so the grantor and the beneficiary. Okay, let's put them to the side, right? The other one that's put to the side is the protector. Okay, the protector is the judge of the kingdom, because the protector cannot be related to anyone because he has to be non-biased. He's a judge, right? So whenever there's a problem in the kingdom within a trust, the protector is the mediator. Okay, right? All right. Now, the protector, the beneficiary, and the grantor are all separate. Everyone else is a trustee. Now, here's the deal, right? General manager is a general manager. Executive secretary is an executive secretary. But as far as the law is concerned, they are also considered as trustees. So
Right,
everybody other than the beneficiary, the protector, and the grantor are all trustees.
They're all trustees, exactly.
Yes, yes, no matter what their position is. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot. Because the thing is that the trust is like a company, so there's going to be a lot of different trustees that do a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? But they're all trustees.
Hey, and what happens if so all of your like you know how you have like, for example, the MCO of your vehicle, and
of your car,
so the trust,
your car,
right.
of your car.
Oh yeah, my bad. The automobile.
Aye.
Yeah, vehicle. So the trustee keeps them. The trustee keeps it, or who keeps the documents?
Listen to this question. This guy with the. All right, so here's the deal with that. The car goes into the trust, so the car is under the trust name, right? Right? But it is in the possession of the trustees. Now, here's what happens, right? Okay, how do I say this? The trustees draw up paperwork, right? The general manager sets it up so that the trust appoints certain trustees to be able to use the cars. So what happens is you put your car into the trust, right? But it's not your car. It's the trust car, and you are authorized to operate it.
So you gotta.
So nobody can take the car from you because it's not yours. See?
Okay.
Now, to the secular world, you are an employee driving a company vehicle to them at that point. You're working for somebody at that point. Now, here's what happens when you're on the road. What happens is there is immediately a distinction made, right? Oh shit, he doesn't work for us. Right? You know what I mean? When they know you don't work for them, they can't use any of their rules on you because, son, you can't use Walmart rules on me. I work at Sears, B. Like, you're not following Walmart protocol. I don't work there. You know what I mean? So what happens is they know that you work for a different company at that point. Put it like this. On the road, they don't just pull over McDonald's trucks or McDonald's 18-wheelers or, you know what I'm saying? They don't just pull over company cars. Like, they pull over regular cars because they know that you work for them. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. The whole thing with driving and license plates is that they pull over the people that they know work for them, son.
Right. Okay.
They can't pull over people that don't have those plates on because they don't know if you work. You know what I mean? They're not sure that you work for them or not. So there might be a problem when they pull you over. You see what I'm saying? They don't take that risk, especially if the plates, you know what you're doing. I'm just saying, clergy real big on plates. They go around us, man. Ride behind us for a minute, probably make a call or two, and then they go around.
Mhm. So, yeah.
At first it was scary. You like, out there behind us, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna pull us over, right? But they didn't. Right, when we first started, I knew what I was doing, right? I knew there wasn't, no trouble, but it's still scary. When we first started, it was scary. Like, yo, what if they don't care, right? But nah, they don't pull us over, man.
Yeah. Have you ever been in any lawsuits for your trust?
Nah, whoa, nah,
No.
nah. Nah, put it like this, right? What happened was, I looked up when I was doing research on trust a couple of years ago. I ran into this lady. Her name is Gwen Wyckoff, right? Her and the trust that she had, they went up against the Department of Justice and won. Okay, right? I said, I want that lady to teach me. Right? If I learn about trust from anybody, I want to learn from somebody that went up against the DOJ and kicked their asses. All right, so I went and I paid for all her books, and I paid for her to teach me how to do it, and so that's where I learned how to do this from. So lawsuits, me? Nah.
Uh-huh.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Not yet. And not anybody that I know, because, I have to say, it might be maybe 3 years. I've been showing people how to do this. So out of all the people that took this information and ran with it, nobody came back. That's the whole thing. Whatever I've done for people, I haven't had, and people pay me for this stuff, right? So if something goes wrong, you would think if you gave me a couple $100, you're gonna call me. If something don't go right, you're gonna hit me up. Like you said, everything would be cool, and it's not cool. What's going on? Nobody called me. So I'm not a guy that's gonna say, "Hey, could you give me a testimonial? Hey, could you say that again, but more clear this time?" Right? Now, I don't go around getting testimonials from people, and maybe I should, because they're like, "Yo, do you have any testimonials of other people?" That I'm like, "Nah, I don't really ask people for that. I help people, and that's it." Like, you know what I'm saying? But nobody calls me with problems, though. I can say that. I don't have testimonials, but I don't have complaints. And I've been doing all types of stuff for people for years. Like, I help people with mortgages, with their cars, with student loans, with all types of stuff. Nobody called me back mad yet. And everybody's still in their house. So far, I know everybody still got their car. Because if somebody paid me $200 for debt elimination because for their car, and their car gets repoed, I would think that they would call me. I would think that they would call me. Mad as hell, right? But it hasn't happened, man. Nobody.
You also do debt elimination?
Yeah, debt elimination, credit repair, all that stuff. If you go on my website and spend some time on there, I do a lot.
Right, and that's for the what's it called, the people who are operating and what's it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, if you have debt, I can help you. It's not about, you know what I'm saying? There's different ways to do it, though. Like, if you're a priest or something, like, there's different ways you could go about eliminating debt, because we, at that point, we're talking the blood of Christ washed away my sins and debts. Man, like, I don't, whatever you talking about, the person owed, I'm not him, and that's gone from me. Like, Jesus washed that away. Like, I don't know what you talking about. Right? I'm stand firm on that. I don't know what y'all talking about. Right? Because when somebody comes at it from the point of their beliefs, it's a different type of debt elimination. When you're taking on the vow of poverty and you saying that you that you don't have nothing, you turned over your life to Christ, and I don't own nothing. I gave everything up. I don't know what you asking me for. I can't even do that if I wanted to. Like, what do you want from me? right? That's a different approach than, so it's different ways to go about it, but everybody can be helped, especially because all of this debt is fraud. So everybody can deal with it. Everybody can get out of debt. There is no debt. There is no spoon. Or there is no spoon, son.
Yeah.
Because when you signed your name, you created the money, right? Your signature creates the money. So whatever you sign, they cash it.
That's a fact.
So I could put it that's as simply as I could put it. Whatever you sign, they cash it. If it got a dollar amount on it, I don't care. Listen, if whatever you sign, they cash it. They cash it. You sign something, they cash it, son. That's what I'm saying. So there can't be a such thing as debt when they ask you to sign something. That's why debt elimination consists of asking them, where's the paper that I signed, son? If you didn't cash it and get the money and get all of the money for this already, then where's the paper? If you didn't cash the paper, where's the paper? I know you cashed the paper. Where's the paper? If I owe you, you should still have the paper.
Oh, so when you give them the debt validation, they usually don't come back with the signed autograph?
They can't. They cashed it. It's gone. They don't have it. And if they can't show it to you, then then the debt has to be eliminated, man.
Oh,
they have no proof. They have no proof. Where's the paper that I agreed to this crap with you? Where's the proof that you didn't cash it? The proof of this whole situation is the contract, man. Where's the contract? That's the proof that there's debt. Where's the contract? Show me the contract.
Got it.
There's no such thing, because everything you sign, they cash it, is gone. It doesn't exist. They have no idea where it's at. Now, what they do have, though, is they hire entire companies of children, and I don't want to say children. So they can say, oh, we have the original right here. Here's a copy of it right here. But, son, I didn't ask you for a copy. I wanted the original. Right? But they got people forging signatures.
Wow.
Tricking people into abandoning their homes. What happens is when they trick you into leaving your house, you abandon it. Now they can get it. It's abandoned now. Oh, boy. But I'll tell everybody now, if you know anybody, because I started the new real estate thing, right? Listen, this is how you help people with mortgages and if they're dealing with foreclosures. Listen, right? Sell the house. The easiest way to get out of foreclosure is sell it, right? Sell it. Find somebody that, I'll buy your house. I'll buy it. Listen, sell the house to them. But you have to find somebody that's willing to buy it from you and let you stay in it. And then they'll lease it
to the trust.
Listen, right, and then the trust will lease the house to them. So now, you have the mortgage off your back. You have the mortgage off your credit, right? You don't have a foreclosure on your credit. You don't have to deal with the mortgage payments on your credit no more. The trust deals with that, and you pay the trust on a lease now.
$1 a day.
So now you get rid of them completely. $1 a day, right? But I'm just saying, right? Yeah. So you get rid of your debt. You don't get kicked out of your crib. You know, and you don't have to deal with the mortgage company no more. The trust does that. But then you're paying the trust every month. And it'll probably be less than whatever your mortgage was, but you still got to pay for your crib. Like, but you're not, you know what I mean? You're not facing foreclosure no more. And you're not dealing with a death pledge, which is what a mortgage is. So that's how you free yourself from that, from the death pledge. But you have to be willing to deal with somebody that will buy your house and let you stay in it. And that's what we do. But a lot of companies don't do that. They want you out of there so they can sell it. They'll give you a couple $1,000 so you could get a new crib. And, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then they sell your house. Which is not a bad deal either, but some people want to stay in their house, man. She's an old lady. She been here for 40 years, man. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm helping her get out of foreclosure. I don't want to kick her out of her crib. So I can sell her house. Like, come on, man. Give her, here's $3,000, lady. You're going to find something nice. What, come on. Who does that? Obviously, everybody does that, but I'm not doing that. So, if you know somebody that's facing foreclosure, just send them to me and we'll work it out. But yeah, you could look that up too. Like, stop foreclosure, sell your house. Google that; it'll pop up. Yeah, but you have to be willing to find. You have to find somebody that's willing to let you stay.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. And so let's see what else. Yeah, and that's pretty much the map. That's your map. You know what I mean? That's what you use to go by. So y'all, you should take that picture and print it out. Right? You can copy, download it from my Facebook page, because on my wall I posted it. It's in group 2, in the group chat. You could download it. And plus we'll put it in the school. It'll be available in the school as a document. So yeah, that map should help you guys a lot while you're doing this, so that you have some type of direction. Go ahead.
So the trust that the United States created for us with the birth certificate or whatever, Social Security.
Yeah.
So are we the beneficiaries?
Yes. Originally, yes, you are. You're supposed to be. They lied to you. But what happened was, it's not. What happened was, it's not that they lied to you, because who actually whispered in your ear and lied to you? Who whispered in your ear and lied to you? Nobody did. Right? Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. You started living your life as a trustee. You started taking care of paperwork and shit. You started you started doing paperwork and banking for the trust and all that. That's a trustee. You know what I'm saying? Like, you a trustee. You're not a beneficiary. And since you're not the beneficiary, I don't know. I'll be the beneficiary. And since I'm the beneficiary, you're doing all this for me, and I get the money. Then I control the money, right? So that's what they did, and they give you. You know what you get. You know why you know why nobody. You know what the money is that everybody's getting from the statutory trust. You're getting the trustee. You're getting the minimum wage trustee cut.
Shoot.
That's what you get. That's what you're getting of all of what the trust is worth. You're getting, which is actually for the beneficiaries. But, and what happens is, being that you are operating as a trustee your whole life, that's who you are.
Right. So, worst case scenario, you come to court, and they're trying to sue you, or there's a claim against you. You could claim your body and collapse the trust, right?
Claim your body and collapse the trust. Hey, this is what This is, well, it's not, well, no. See, that's what I'm saying. Everything here from the baptism down, that's what you need. That's all you need, man. You showed me that.
Right.
So now, as far you're talking about returning to Caesar what is Caesar's. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
yeah, you would have to do that in equity, because now if you look on my post on my wall, again, if you look on my wall, there's a picture of Yoda, right? I explained that whole ordeal in that post. Who you have to see, who they are, how that works, why it works that way. It's all in that post. You should copy and paste that and make a document out. Well, what I'm going to do for y'all, what I'm going to do for everybody is I'm going to take those 2 posts and some other stuff and put it together and make you guys like a little ebook or something. So you don't have to go on my Facebook. You could just download it as a document.
All right.
Yeah, that would be better. Because when I put those 2 posts up, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. These 2 posts go together. This would make a cool ebook, right? Right? So I'm going to put them together and make an ebook. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it for tonight, right? So I hope you guys got that and took some notes, and that's what we're doing here, man. And that's how it's done. And that's why. And the time is now, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. And so I'll see you guys Thursday. And thank you for coming to class. What's up? More questions? What's up?
No, well, isn't... Oh, go ahead.
I just said peace. Go ahead, man.
Oh, yeah, peace, man. Hit me in my inbox if y'all got questions that you don't want to ask in front of anybody else. You know what I'm saying? If you're like, what is a trust? And you don't want to ask that in front of nobody, you know what I mean? Just inbox me.
So,
nah,
is there school on
crazy.
Tuesdays?
Go ahead.
I thought it was Tuesdays and Thursdays for your school.
Yeah, it is Tuesdays and Thursdays. I said Thursday. I'll talk to y'all Thursday.
So, oh, okay. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of groups and people out there, and they talking about trust, and they have no idea what they're talking about, man. And it's crazy, son. I don't know, and it's a lot of confusion. But that's what we're here for. So yeah. See you guys Thursday.
All right, you guys have a good night.
All right.
Thanks for the info.
Bless everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. God bless.
Bless you.